It's a common myth that GLP-1s cause muscle loss, but muscle loss happens to non-users losing weight as well. People lose muscle because 1, they don't eat enough protein, and 2, they don't do any strength training. So in this video, I'm going to go over what I do to prevent muscle loss while taking a GLP-1 so you can avoid things like getting weaker or Ozempic butt. By the way, I'm Nico, nutrition coach on tirzepatide, showing other GLP-1 users what I do to get better results from the meds by using proper nutrition. All right, let's get into it. So why does this myth exist? Again, there are 2 ways to prevent muscle loss, and it's eat enough protein and strength training. Resistance exercises or strength training is moving heavy things with your muscles. This can be things like lifting weights or body weight exercises. A big reason why this myth exists is because a lot of users don't have an appetite to eat enough food, and we get energy and protein from food. So when people don't have the energy to exercise or don't get enough protein because they can't eat, they have an increased chance of muscle loss. This isn't special to GLP-1 users. The same things happen to non-users as well. I've lost a few pounds of muscle during a diet about 3 years ago before I took a GLP-1 because I wasn't doing any strength training like I should have, and I also was barely eating any protein. But now that I take muscle loss more seriously, I haven't lost any, and there are other GLP-1 users who've experienced the same thing. A lot of people even gain muscle if they start strength training and eat more protein. Okay, so why do we want muscle? Muscle helps prevent flat or saggy body parts. You can think of it as Ozempic butt. By the way, Ozempic butt isn't caused by Ozempic, it's just general muscle loss. It helps maintain strength. This is a quality of life thing. If you ever gotten the flu and your body just feels kind of bleh, that's sort of what it feels like to lose a ton of muscle and strength. And last is look leaner at the same weight. What this means is you can imagine yourself in your dream body, but the scale weight is the same. This is sort of an extreme example, but hopefully it makes sense. Okay, again, how I prevent muscle loss is I eat enough protein and do resistance exercises or strength training. So let's now cover eating enough protein. So how much do we need? I try to aim for 0.7 grams to 1 gram per pound of goal body weight. I use goal body weight because for some people, if they didn't, it can be too much protein for them to eat, and they can't eat other foods and nutrients. And you can pause the video here to look at this chart before we move on. So what protein do I eat? I eat lean protein, which means 2 or more to 1 protein to fat ratio. And if we look at this nutrition label, it's 30 grams of protein and 2.5 grams of fat, which is a 12 to 1 ratio. So why do I eat lean protein? Because they're low in calories, so I can still lose weight, and sometimes the fattier protein foods can give me nausea, especially the day after I take my shot. And to give an example of some lean protein, it would be things like chicken, egg whites, ground beef, ground turkey, and plain Greek yogurt. I like to get my lean protein from fast food restaurants, so I would get grilled chicken thighs at Panda Express and then chicken and steak at Chipotle. Now, if you don't like counting your calories or weighing your food, I use a variation of hand portions to measure food. I eat 4 fists of protein per day. Each fist is about 25 to 30 grams of protein. It's a range because people have different size fists. That's generally relative to the size of their body. And here's a picture to show you what it looks like. I make a fist with my thumb inside and shape it to the size of my food. You don't have to be super accurate, just close enough is good. This method is way easier than weighing everything and calculating macros. It's obviously not as accurate, but it's good enough for me to help prevent muscle loss. So being on a GLP-1, having a low appetite makes eating protein hard, so I make it easier by following what I call the 3 protein Ps. It's pre-cooked protein, protein drinks, and protein snacks. Pre-cooked protein would be things like canned tuna, lean deli meats, rotisserie chicken, or restaurant takeout. This is a picture of protein at a grocery store. It would be shredded chicken, and the other one is a salad bowl with steak. And again, I get a bunch of my pre-cooked protein from fast food places. It would be chicken at Panda Express and then chicken and steak at Chipotle. Next are protein drinks and shakes. If you have a low appetite, liquids are easier to digest compared to solid foods. Some people like powders and putting it in a blender or shaker cup and then adding some other ingredients. I'm lazy, so I like getting the pre-made protein drinks. And there are a lot of options out there, and some of them are pretty high in calories, so I would still follow the 2 or more to 1 protein to fat ratio. Next are protein snacks. These would be things like protein bars, protein chips, and lean beef jerky. You can get a bunch of these in most grocery stores and gas stations, so they're pretty convenient for if you're on the go or anything. Now, moving on to the other ways I make protein easier to eat. I always eat my protein first during my meals before I eat other foods like carbs or fats. Just in case I get full and can't eat other foods, I at least get my protein. And to give you an example, here's a picture of a meal I would eat. If I'm prioritizing protein, I would have the chicken first, and then the carbs, and then the veggies last. I'm not mentioning fats because it's in my chicken. And veggies last because they're high volume foods, so if I ate it first before my protein, I would be too stuffed. Next is a longer eating window. This means I have more time throughout the day to eat and digest food. I try to have protein as soon as I wake up. It's usually just a protein drink with some coffee. And my last meal or snack before bed also has some protein, if I still need some. Now let's talk about resistance training. I think it's more important than protein, but if you can do both, then the chances of muscle loss is pretty low. When most people first start out, they think they need to work out like 5 days a week, but most people can get away with around 2 and increase it if they need to over time. It's not about how often or how long you exercise, it's more about how hard you push yourself. So try not to go just through the motions and try to push yourself a little bit more than last time for every session. All right, to recap, protein helps maintain muscle. The 3 protein Ps and the other things I mentioned helps make eating protein easier when your appetite is low. I use hand portions to measure my protein instead of calories. And resistance training also helps maintain muscle. All right, that's it for the video. I hope this helped and you don't lose any muscle. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching. Bye.